It was an interesting experience to collect my 5 generals. It took me a long time to think who I needed, who would be each best for the job. Well, I answered the last question first. It would be the relatives of each one of the main 5. Each one of the bearers had a family member that they saw before they died. Except for Rainbow Dash. Her parents were busy in Cloudsdale. So I had to get creative with her. The first one I sought was Applejack. I went back in time, and after I did my usual kill Grand Ruler, I met up with Big Mac. There, I introduced myself to him, revealed who I really was. And after a while, I explained to him everything. Everything about what was to happen into the future. What was going to happen next. What was to become of his, well, sister. And Big Mac saw everything. And I think with the feelings of loss from both his parents and his sister, that he realized that I was right. That we needed to do this. If we were to save our loved ones, he would have to join me. And together we could fix the timelines. We could make it so that we would create a perfect future where ponies like Applejack and my family would never have to die again. The enthusiasm on his face was catching, and I couldn't help but laugh when he was smiling, thinking that, yes, he would save Applejack. I just didn't have the heart to tell him that there's also a really good chance that her death, by accident of course, was preordained. After all, I would have to be born. But I let him keep to his fantasy. That with each timeline we went to, and with each time we killed Starfleet and Grand Ruler, that we would change the world. That we would change time. And thus, I gave him enough of my power to make him be able to be stronger than any of them, to control the very darkness itself. Thus, my first general was born. It was here I thought about it. If I were to be the big bad of Starfleet, to be the monstrous general that they all expected me to be, and the evil being that they need to have, why not play up the part? After all, Starfleet is too stupid to think that evil can come from within. They're too stupid to think that evil doesn't need code names or doesn't need childish things like big disguises or big dramatic speeches. They just think that evil is always the big, shadowy monster that lies within, the big, giant monster that lies within themselves, that has red eyes and looks scary, ooh, and is filled with darkness. They think that true evil is just the dark, the guys who eat and drink darkness and all that. Well, that's not true. True evil can be people who are beautiful, with long white hair and the most powerful soldier. Evil can be that childish clown that you never expected would turn against you. And true evil can sometimes be what you least expect, or even the gods you worship. That's what I came to realize. So, I gave him a code name. Giant. Not my greatest work. What can I say? I'm not much for code names. Being a dramatic goofball, sure. I wouldn't mind calling them these names. Add a little funsies and we can have all a good laugh about it. Even Big Mac thought it was fun to just call himself something silly, just to have a good laugh whenever he hears Starfleet say, "It's giant!" After that, I went to my next subject. This one was rather interesting. Sweetie Belle, a young teenager. When we got to my timeline and I first became Dark King, she had already become a well-renowned singer. But when Rarity died, she was still so young, only at an age where she had just gotten her career off the ground. And there she was, so innocent and young, still crying over her sister's death. I took that little girl in and told her it would be all right, that she would be fine, that she didn't need to worry anymore. Her innocence was delectable. I promised that I would protect it, and she need not worry. I told her there were ways to bring Rarity back, that I had a gift for her. And so thus, my beloved alien was born, able to crush everything. For her, this was a game. The next one came along quite unexpectedly. I, quite frankly, was expecting to get, say, somebody more powerful than Zephyr. But he seemed quite excited about the prospect. He told me that to save Fluttershy, he would become my ogre. He would become my powerful being, and he would give it all if he could just see her again. He even told me that for once in his life, he felt like he could actually do some good and do something right for a change. He technically is. By being my strong soldier, by being my powerful man of muscle, he has become something far better than he has ever expected. He revels in it. My next subject came to me when I realized the first one who died. I picked her from any timeline, I can't remember where. I think it might have been sometime after I had picked up Zephyr. But I found Limey crying by her family's grave. It seemed that without Pinkie, her family was dying slowly, one by one, until the only ones that were left were her and Maud. I guess Marble couldn't take the pain of losing her twin, and her parents, well, that little innocent girl was the thing that kept them going. I told Limestone that her powers would make her an excellent first assistant, that her ability to own and run fires like she did would make her an excellent tactician and an excellent scout. And so, Demon was granted to me. Then came the one that I related to the most. Soren Earhart. I decided to go to a particular timeline where the death of Spitfire and his son were still fresh in his mind. And there he was, crying over their gravestones. I then told Soren that there were ways that that he could see his family fly again. There were ways that he could prove himself to be king of the skies. All he needed to do was take my hand. Of course, he refused. I think he could see that I was slowly becoming mad. Oh. I'm not that bad. Not yet. But I did tell Soren that he had a gift. That he had something special that very few could take. And if we were to kill Starfleet, why, all of this would be changed. And he and his wife could fly once again. And so, driven by passion, caring, and love, he took my hand. And he became Bad Horse, my other trusted lieutenant. And so there they were, Limestone, disguising herself as a man, so that way none could recognize her. Sweetie Belle, my wonderful little alien. Zephyr, the ogre. Big Mac, the giant. And last but not least, Bad Horse. Believe it or not, Soren decided to take that code name. He decided that since everybody else was picking code names, he might as well pick one that was a little less obvious of who he was. He decided to pick Bad Horse because it sounded a little fun to him. And it also gave him a little tinge of personality. Very exact. So, I had my 5 soldiers of darkness. There we were. 6 fallen angels. 6 gods. Each one god and his 5 angels. Each one of us prepared to do what we must. To destroy Starfleet. To bring back our world. Well, then, they know that I was running them on a fool's errand. And all this was to destroy them. And to fill my little desires. I wonder if they would still be eager if they knew that. You might be asking, would I care if I had lost one of them? I would, actually. You may not believe this, but I do care for my generals. And I might show some compassion if I ever lose them during this mission. But I also know another sad, sad truth. If one of them were to die, I could just pick another year in their timeline where they are alive and bring them back that way. In a sense, they have many, many, many lives. All I have to do is go back to one day each day that they have to come, that they are alive. And if you look at it that way, they have exactly 365 days per year. Which means that they have many lives and I could just continue to rewrite time. Let's not forget, all of this is bound to my will. And so, with everyone in charge, I decided to make our last mission known. Well, not completely last. But this is the last mission you know of us. I decided to go back to 5 months after Twilight died, where all of our family were alive. Cadence had yet to have her miscarriage, and my world had yet to be born. It was time to bring forth a fall for Starfleet.